Hi beauties, jumping right into this tutorial. I have bleached the knots on this frontal for like maybe only 10 minutes actually, but I wanted to show you how some of the knots bleached and some just didn't. However, I don't have shimmer lights, so what I'm doing here is jimmy rigging a little bit. My neutralizing shampoo plus violet gem purple dye from one of my old dye jobs, and that's by the company Adore. So I'm basically just mixing that together and rubbing it into my frontal, and I'm hoping that it covers the brassy tones, which I feel it kind of did to the knots that bleach, because they didn't all bleach, you know, like here some are not bleached, here some are bleached down at the bottom there. But anyways, I'm just gonna run you through really fast on how I customize my frontals. And this one by Westkiss Hair was terrible, guys, like terrible, and I probably shouldn't have customized it because it shedded so much. But anyways, I am literally plucking maybe 5 times or so, and then I'm going over by maybe 1 centimeter. So I'm plucking, skip a centimeter, plucking, skip a centimeter, plucking, and there it gives this kind of scalloped effect. But you see I've separated the hairs in the front so that I don't have that scalloped effect on my hairline. So this is how it's looking so far. After just a bit of plucking, I separate the baby hairs or potential baby hairs in the front, and I do the same thing going along the side. On the side here, I do part like a 1/2 inch back and thin some more. This is just so that I have a gradual thickening of the hair. Like I don't want to go from like baby hair wispy to boom, full hairline. So that's how we avoid that, and just by going back like 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch. The top of my personal head is a little bit thicker, and so I customize my frontal to match that. So I go back maybe a full inch and I pluck some hairs from there, and I leave the top fuller. This is where I got a little worried, because that just pulled right out with not even plucking. That was just straight off the frontal. It was at that moment I knew this thing was gonna shed like a homeless dog. But yeah, this is how I look after my plucking. Obviously I had to cut quite a bit of it because plucking is like a 30 to 45 minute process, because I do it very slowly. Here I'm trying to get a guideline, like I'm guesstimating where the sideburns will fall, trying to see where the swoops will fall, and then I try my best to replicate it on the other side. So pulling out the hairline to preserve it and save any potential baby hairs, I pluck, skipping a cm. I'm just making sure not to thin too far back here, like all the way back onto the frontal, because you need hair to cover the wefts. And that is how much I plucked. This video is going way too fast. So if you remember my mesh dome cap, I like to have the open lines in the front to match the brows and the V in the back to match the nape. And I'm pulling it all the way down on this thing that is customized to fit my head. I'm pulling the hairline of the frontal maybe 1.5 inches in front of the wig cap itself, and I'm slowing this down to show you guys here and give myself some time to catch up. You see, like this side I didn't do it real good. This one, like I positioned it right, but when I pinned it, it went right on the line of the cap. That's not how it should be. It should be more like this side, which the hairline still sits a little bit in front of the cap so that you have a little bit more coverage on your ear tabs. You see here, it's like more forward. So there's some gaping in the back. I'm not really worried about that. I'm gonna sew that flat. And I'm gonna start from the middle and sew down to the 2 ends. And this is just so that I could avoid any shifting. I've done it straight across before and I didn't like the result, because no matter how I tried, it shifted. This is my new favorite thread, nylon thread. It's so fine that you don't have that thick bunching of the bundles. And the cavalry is coming, so when you hear them in the background, just forget about it. If I don't record now, I'll never record. So I'm just showing you how I secure the frontal to the cap. Just a basic stitch through the mesh, through the frontal, and make a knot. And I have a zoomed in version coming up, but I did want you to see that I'm trying my best to put these close together. I probably could have gone closer, but this works for me. So here I am zoomed in now. So through the mesh, through the frontal, the thread is behind the needle and creates a loop. What you saw me do in the beginning was wrap it around the needle 3 times to make a knot. So now all the stitching is done across the front, close as I can get, and the hair I'm using is from the Glamour collection. This is my 16-inch Cambodian loose wave. You saw the little tag was handwritten. And this one has brown tips. These two are the same Cambodian loose wave, but 18-inch. And I was just showing you the packaging really because I thought it was really cute. Yeah, but note that they're from letsglamour.com. But each bundle is from a different donor, so they're not the same color or curl pattern. So when I start sewing my bundles, I attach my bundle to the mesh, like the top. I'm not going all the way through the elastic, just the top part of the mesh and through the frontal, and I'm trying to secure it the best I can. For some reason, this thing kept sewing on crooked, and I was just too through, and I just let it be. Okay, but you see me here trying to straighten it out and it just don't work. Yeah. Nobody will see it, it'll be fine. So I'm trying to do it as close to the bottom as I can so that it gives myself the option of pulling the hair up a little bit without too much of my piece showing. And this little thing is right in front, so I can't really see what I'm doing with my hands. But I know that I loop it through for the first and through the mesh and through the frontal, tie a knot and keep going. But the rest of the times I go under the weft, through the mesh, loop it through and tie a knot and keep going. I only tie a knot maybe the first 2 times, and then after that it's just like the loop and pull as I've heard it called. And I'm just showing you here that on the other end, I do the same thing, going through the mesh, through the frontal, and tying it off there. I just wanted to zoom in to show you that part that I'm going through everything. Through the weft, through the mesh, through the frontal, knot. And here I'm gonna fold over, so I'm just lining up my thread to the higher point and tying it off. And then when I start again, you know, oh, look at that. I cut out the whole sewing thing. So this is one bundle done. One bundle of 18 is finished. It cracked me up. And I just wanted to show you really close that there is some bearding on these tracks. So I didn't want to single weft them. What I did was fold them in half to where the bearding was inside on both sides. So no matter how I would flip it, those little short hairs wouldn't be poking through, you know. And the weft is still was quite thin, so it was thin enough that I could still sew through it even though it was doubled, and it lays pretty flat. So starting up the next level higher, my thread is still long enough so I don't want to cut it. So I just go up and then run it through my wefts. Yes, baby, I'm coming. Run it through my wefts and through the frontal. And I do that every time I come in contact with the frontal. I touch it, except for when I'm closing the wig. Maybe even when I close the wig. So again, through the weft, through the mesh, loop, 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 and pull through. And now that is secured, and I will sew it all the way across. Under the weft, through the mesh, thread behind the needle, pull through. Under the weft, avoiding the stitching in the middle because that's also elastic. Otherwise your wig won't fit, guys. Trust me, I've done it. You can cut your wefts if you don't like the flip over method. It actually gets kind of annoying after a while flipping these tracks, but I was still glad that I didn't because I have a habit of remaking my wigs when I get bored. So yeah. At this point, I really should have cut my weft like right here, because when I put the wig on my head, right there, that particular bump, I can feel it and it drives me crazy. So I should really have cut the weft there. But I am continuing to do the same thing. You see the card from the Let's Glamour collection? Man, that's the one I really want to buy. That Bantu curly or whatever it is. So you see me here trying to change the direction of my weft. So I'm kind of squaring it off a little. So I held it in the corner to create an angle, so that from here on out, instead of going in a U like I was going, I will go back and forth. And that's the bump that I was saying that I should have really cut it right there, because that bump pushes through in the wig. But anyways, so I went left, now right, now left again, and I'm leaving this huge 1-inch space here, and I'm using my last track. That's maybe that's 2 finger spaces, I can't really remember, but I'm using my last track to connect up to the frontal. And I wanted a space right there, like close to the top, because I want it to lay flat when I comb the frontal over the bundles, because I've done it to where it kind of like bumps over the bundles a little bit, because I had everything too close in the top there. So the rest of my wig is kind of tightly packed, but right here I just left like a huge gap, and it was kind of purposeful, intentional. So this moment here was kind of bittersweet, guys. This is the last stitch. I really enjoy making wigs, so it's exciting to be done but sad to be finished. And I just showed you how I sewed that down to the frontal. I looped it 3 times, and then because I'm a nerd, I tied a knot. But at this point, I was so excited. I thought this frontal was amazing back then, and I thought that it was perfect. The color match, match, the curl pattern was like perfect to this Cambodian loose wave from Let's Glamour. You know, I was excited. This is how the wig looks on the inside, the stitching and everything. And when you take it off of your mannequin, this is how it looks. And I'm just showing you really quick how I cut the excess dome cap off. This girl is so loud. I am being careful not to cut the threads that attach the frontal to the rest of the wig, because it is not fun trying to put that thing back together. I've tried to remake a wig and it was miserable, so I couldn't imagine after you just finished the wig, you mess it up. So be careful, okay? And this is what your wig will look like when you're done. And don't forget, this mannequin is customized to fit me. That's my hairline right there that you're looking at. So it fits me perfectly, as you will see when I put it back on the mannequin. I think that my threading is neat in there. I was proud of myself. Yeah, so I'm tugging it. It's not coming off, and I think it looks great. So guys, like this video if you like this video. Click my face to subscribe if you are enjoying our vibe. And make sure you check out one of our other videos, which I will gladly leave for you right here. Bye guys. See you next time.